So my name is James Gardner and I'm the Chief Technology Officer for the Department for Work and Pensions, and this is a face of someone I met, not the real face and not the real name, but close to the real face. In one of the two times a year, senior management at the department is required to go to the front line and experience what the people who experience our services experience. I went to somewhere in Scotland, I won't tell you where exactly, it was not very, very remote Scotland, and I worked in a Job Centre Plus office, and what I was there doing was helping to run a thing called Social Fund. Social Fund is what we provide for citizens who, for whatever reason, have run out of their benefits between the time we give them and the time they're coming. And we, on limited occasions, will give them an advance on their benefits just to tide them over. And I met this person whose name is John. And John is a young man. He left school early. He had no choice but to leave school early. He was thrown out of his home for various reasons. He is between benefits, so he hasn't got a job. And he came in for his benefits, we paid them. And then somehow, between that time, maybe just a day later, he came back into the office and said, "My benefits are gone. If you don't give me money, I'm going to be put out on the street. It's snowing and I have no food to eat." And this is a very interesting, awful situation for someone so young to be sitting in front of me. I'm sitting in this benefits delivery centre thinking, oh my gosh, what do we do about this? Well, Social Fund exists to help these people. We give them an advance on the loan, an advance on their benefits, hopefully that they'll repay over time. Well, we have a number of systems about that. There are all these different decisions that get made. It's all technology driven. We're one of the biggest technology outsourcers, buyers of technology outsourced services in Europe, actually. It's all outsourced, and the computer came up and said, "We can't give you this advance. We cannot give you this advance." This was the third time he'd had the advance. We decided we couldn't give it. And I said to the staff in the Job Centre Plus, the man is going to be out in the snow, he'll probably starve, there could be a consequence here. And they said, yes, we know. We also know why. He has actually lost his benefit. But the systems we have do not allow us to be more flexible in this regard. For your information, he wasn't on drugs. He hadn't just lost it. It's a problem in this particular area of Scotland that there are money lenders waiting outside the offices who take the benefits from people as they're given, and there is no money left. And that night he spent it in the snow. My point in saying all of this is that we have a very significant issue in the department. This is what we presently spend on benefits delivery and pensions across the country. It's 185 billion and it's a growing number. And it's a growing number because we have an ageing population and we have a difficult societal situation going on. But my point is, as a big outsourcer, we are really looking for ways to find ways of changing the way the government does, changing the societal approach to this stuff. And you know, I come in and I see people, I see outsourcers every day coming to me, and this is what we get from them. We start from the inner circle. We think, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? I am doing this to help people like John. Because frankly, what we're trying to do from a society perspective is to bring people out of poverty, to find them new work outcomes, to make sure that they are not stuck in a poverty trap. There are people in this country actually who have multiple generations of never working, and I know people think that the reason for this is because they don't want to work, but the reality is extremely different. The reality is their parents didn't teach them about the things they need to know to make that decision to go to work. They had no good examples, therefore they don't go to work. We're always thinking the why. Then we think, what programs do we have to put in place to actually make sure that we can get the outcomes? And finally we think, what is the outcome that we need? That is not what I get from an outsourcer. When I see an outsourcer, particularly our large technology outsourcers, what I get is, first of all, here's the latest widget that you can be sold. Or here is the latest bit of gadgetry stuff that's going to help you with whatever your objective is. And then I get, and here is how we get to implement the gadget. And finally, what happens is they think, oh, and you should do this because it will have these outcomes for your welfare to work programs. There is a complete disconnect in so many instances between what we want to do as a department and what our outsourcers, all outsourcers in fact who come to see us, want to do for us. We have a particular motive that is driven by social outcomes, and outsourcers all have a motive which is driven by money. Now, I'm not for one moment saying that there shouldn't be a profit here. I'm not for one moment saying that. In our outsourced relationships, we have some very good partners, and we like them to make a profit because they have to be able to serve us as we go forwards. But the point is there isn't this thinking about what we're really trying to do. with what we're doing. By the way, of that 185 billion, I think it is, this is how much my technology function spends of that. This microscopic amount of money. This is how much it is. So my question to you, especially if you're a technology outsourcer, is why would you show up and show me a new disk array, or show me a new storage, or show me a new network? Because frankly, those things, they don't even begin to address the problem we face. We have a £185 billion problem in this country, and fixing it does not happen with giving us a new network. The real thing that we want from our outsourcers is to help us address the big problem. And the big problem is we have societal outcomes that we must change. Showing up with a technology solution that is only a technology solution does not do that for us. But if you can show up with something that actually helps us address those societal things, then we really need that help, and we're really excited to be able to talk to you about that stuff. So let me come back to John just finally and tell you about some of the things that have been happening in our outsourced relationships. The first thing is this thing about innovation. We are desperate for innovation in the civil service, and you know, in the civil service presently we face an unprecedented situation, absolutely unprecedented. The unprecedented situation is that we're going to face the deepest cuts of a generation. And when what we're doing is thinking about the why, when we're thinking about the why, those cuts mean how do we deliver frontline services to John, who's sleeping in the snow and may not have food to eat, with this sort of thing going on. From an innovation perspective, what we're really seeking for our suppliers is to help us with that problem. We're not seeking to have them deal with the little disk array, as I said. We're seeking to find these big answers. One of the things that we have to do, for example, with respect to John, is work out how we're going to get more channel self-service. You know, all of our customers do self-service. They all have internet. Yet in government it's so challenging for us to get stuff online. We try our hardest. But there's a lot of things that we have to worry about. So from an outsourcing perspective, the first thing I would say to you is we have to think about the why. Yes, we want you to be a good partner to us. Yes, we want you to make money. But please think about why we're doing the thing that we do. The second thing I'd say is we're going to have a deep, deep cost trouble in the civil service. We have this staring death in the face situation going on. By the way, that's quite a good thing, because when you stare death in the face, things that were impossible before suddenly become very, very possible. We want you to help us fix that particular problem. And finally, from an innovation perspective, please find us ways to deal with the big societal issue that we have, and don't just show up with a new disk array. Thank you very much.